Welcome back to Watch Fox News special edition of National Signing Day. It's a day that a lot of young men across the country and yes, from across the Midlands want to sign that LOI, and they're going to go spend the next 3, 4, 5 years of college football. Of course, Jim Baxter of scvarsity.com, you know him from Overtime, joining me throughout football season. He is the recruiting guru, no doubt about it. And Jim, what a magnificent day for all the young guys.
It was a great day for a lot of kids, and not quite as good for some others that we've done a story on already, but it's an exciting time for these young men because they're making an important decision, one of the most important decisions they'll make in their life.
Yeah, it really is. I was joking with someone at Spring Valley today, and I'll go back to last year with Christian and the whole 2-year process of, you know, coaches and letters and fans and all these things. These kids are just so eagerly wanting to, you know, sign this letter of intent, go play some college football, and, you know, it goes by fast. But there's a lot of great players in the Midlands. Let's start by our first one. The #1 player in the Midlands per ESPN was Albert Huggins, and of Orangeburg-Wilkinson High School, 6'3", 289 pounds. He committed to Clemson. Of course, he is an early enrollee, Jim, a phenomenal football player.
Big time pickup for Clemson. This is a kid that's going to come in and contribute. He's been on the radar since his sophomore year, started getting offers during his sophomore year. Great pass rusher, shows several different techniques coming in on the defensive line, and I think he's going to be a big addition for the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, he was pretty much Clemson all the way. Jonathan Sutton is another guy that ESPN had #2. Again, now this is in the Midlands, so don't get all messed up here, but what about Jonathan Sutton?
Sutton is a great player, 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's been on the scene again since his sophomore year. Tough linebacker from Swansea. Suffered an injury during his junior year. Thought that some of the guys that were recruiting backed off a little bit, but he got the one he wanted. Committed to North Carolina. He's going to be a Tar Heel, and great pickup for the Tar Heels. And
another player we want to focus on real quickly, Tyson Williams. And we talked about this guy a lot in overtime. You liked him a great deal, and I did too.
Yeah, I thought Tyson Williams at 6'1", 190 from Crestwood was one of the top running backs in the state of South Carolina coming into the season. He's another one that had a lot of interest. He's going to do well. He's got the great size, good speed, navigates traffic well. He's committed to North Carolina too. So another big pickup for North Carolina. These kids leaving the state.
I know. Got to try to find a way to keep these guys in the state. Now, speaking of running backs, and one of the best running backs I thought, or maybe the best in the state, was Matt Coburn of Dutch Fork, a guy that found out 2 days, I should say, 48 hours before he was set to sign to go play football at Louisville for Bobby Petrino. Didn't happen. They offered him a gray shirt, didn't want that. A lot of people are upset about this situation. Of course, we sent our guy, Derek Phillips, out to Dutch Fork today. He caught up with Matt Coburn.
I just felt absolutely betrayed.
8 months of commitment, gone in a flash.
It just didn't really make sense.
Dutch Fork star running back Matt Coburn is looking for a new place to call home for the next 4 years after Louisville pulled his scholarship offer just 48 hours before signing day.
I was flabbergasted. I couldn't really take it in at the moment. It felt like a dream, to be honest. You know, I've been committed for 8 months.
Coburn made his decision to sign with the Cardinals last summer so he could focus on his senior year. A year that ended with him earning the coveted title of South Carolina's Mr. Football. And now it's back to square one on the recruiting trail after a decision that has left many stunned.
When the news was broken to me is, what am I going to do now? I've already shut down all the schools. I've been committed to this school for 8 months. No contact with anybody except these guys. I've been loyal to these guys.
Coburn is now searching for loyalty elsewhere, and the phone calls have been pouring in. A dozen offers have come in since Monday, and they've been narrowed down to 3: Georgia Southern, Marshall, and Wake Forest.
I just thought the worst, that nobody would take me, nobody would want me. But, that's not the case now, I see. And I'm just, ever so thankful that these other schools, still want me after, everything. It's just awesome.
And by all accounts, whoever he signs with will be getting an awesome young man on and off the field. At Dutch Fork High School, Derek Phillips, Watch Fox Sports.
Derek, and I'll echo that. What a great young man, high character, great football player. And my problem is this, Jim. Gray shirts happen. A lot of players, this happens. We failed, or this guy we thought we weren't going to get, now he's going to come to us and play, come to school later on for the next class. That happens. Herein lies the problem. The problem with this situation, when you're 48 hours, you're 2 days, you cannot tell a kid, okay, we're full, things didn't work out the right way, because the kid don't really have a great chance to sign and go elsewhere and play. Now, he has some opportunities because he's a phenomenal football player. But I have a problem with Louisville. I have a problem with Bobby Petrino. Matter of fact, you know, coach said, hey, you can't even come to Dutch Fork and recruit anymore. A lot of coaches have echoed the fact that you cannot come into this place, and they agree with Tom Knotts. And here's what a couple of coaches had to say about the situation.
It's sad. It's sad. I just feel for that kid, also for the Dutch Fork community. But, you know, we can support Coach Knotts and his man of Coach Petrino coming here in the state.
I totally understand it. You know, I know Coach Knotts loves his players like all of us coaches love ours. And when you see one hurt like that, from a decision that some guys made that was in their best interest, I guess, that wasn't very moral, I understand the anger, and I think it's a completely appropriate thing to do.
Now, Jim, what has hurt Louisville, Bobby Petrino? They're great players in the state. As we've seen, they go out of state. But it's going to be tough for these guys to come in here and recruit.
Well, it's going to be tough for them to recruit Dutch Fork, obviously, because Coach Knotts isn't going to let them on campus.
They're shut down.
They're shut down. I think, you know, kids are still going to want to go to school, and they want to get an opportunity from a Division I school. Louisville's a great school, so
Right.
Obviously, if they come in state and they start offering kids, they're going to consider them because it's a legitimate Division I offer.
Right.
So, but I think it is unfortunate for Matt Colburn. I think that the biggest part of the biggest problem is the timing. Not only is it 48 hours before signing day, which they still have time to sign later, but it's a dead period right now. So the coaches can't contact him. Other schools can't contact him right now.
Well, if Wake Forest would be a great place for him to go, ACC, Louisville, ACC, maybe he can make them pay. I'm going to talk about this later on in the show because I'm on a soapbox with recruiting, period. But we'll get into that later on here in the program. But coming up next, pair of brothers, Williams, you know those names?
The Williams brothers.
The Williams brothers, they going to a place, they going to salute some folks. We'll tell you who that is after this break. Welcome back to Watch Fox News, special edition National Signing Day. Jim Baxter, I'm Corey Miller, the pastor of Payne. Let's head out to Spring Valley. Two guys that I know very well, Jalen and Jordan Williams, brothers. I coached them. I've known Jordan for a long time. Pop Warner, he was my running back, and he could dash and slash and do a lot of great things. And it was great today to go out there, Jim, and see these two guys signing their LOI to go play football at the Citadel. Now, Jordan is a linebacker / bandit. Jalen, a defensive line guy, pretty good size. You see them play. They were really an integral part of Spring Valley's defense when Christian was playing, and then, of course, last year.
They were, especially, and Jordan, great on both sides of the football, plays running back as well, and does pretty good at the running back position. I think he's, of course, going to be playing a bandit-type linebacker, strong safety at the next level. And then Jalen's going to be coming off the edge. Possibly, depending on the weight, could come down the line and put his hand on the ground.
I can see that happening. I covered the Southern Conference all of last year, and I think they're going to do well. But Derek Phillips and I caught up with these guys at Spring Valley. Here's what they had to say.
I'm excited. I'm really ready to get down there and, showcase my talent and show what the last 4 years, how hard we've been working and what it comes to, ready to put it out there on the field.
I feel like it's gonna be just like playing with my brother in high school. The same fun we have on the field, the fun we have off the field. It's no different. It's just we're on the next level now.
Well, not to be forgotten, there's a third player of that defense, Tyler Frazier, a bandit / safety, probably going to grow into an outside linebacker. He's going to play football at Hampton. We caught up with him as well today.
It's very exciting, and I'm just happy that it's over. I didn't get really a lot of attention like I thought I would, but I'm still happy here, and this is where I feel like I belong.
Three kids doing some great things. Blythewood High School, they got some players as well. Western Carolina commit Hassan Belton, Jim. And of course, you like this guy all year long as we talked about high school football.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the top linebackers in the state. The problem, the hurdle that he had to overcome was that he's 6 foot tall. If he was 6'2", he'd have a dozen Division I 1A offers. But Western Carolina, great school, great program, and they got a big pickup with Hassan Belton.
When you talk about guys like that, Matt Colburn, 5'8", 5'9", when we know how he plays, I think that hurt his amount of high-level D1 offers. Same thing with Belton.
Same thing with Belton. A little bit different with the running back because when you get the running backs like Colburn, you start worrying about durability, and not just durability from running the football, but if I've got a 5'8", 185-pound running back at the Division I level, is he going to be able to block that 6'7", 265-pound defensive end that's coming off the edge?
Yeah.
And so durability becomes a question.
No doubt about it. We got more coming up. Then we'll head to AC Flora, talk to some guys out there. They signed some LOIs as well. We got that coming up after the break. Welcome back to the special edition of Signing Day. Jim Baxter, Corey Miller here with you. Of course, before we talk AC Flora, let's go down to the low country. Zach Bailey, a Gamecock signee, a big offensive lineman. That's what South Carolina needs. He's going to fill some holes left by A.J. Cann, a guy that big, strong, physical guy, Jim. Of course, big smile on his face. And of course, Somerville coaches are happy about him coming to South Carolina. I think he's a really special player. Watched a lot of film on him, very physical, and I think he's going to fit well in a South Carolina uniform. Here's what he had to say today.
You know, it's a great honor. You know, a couple years ago, I would have never expected to be here. Moving from Washington, you know, I didn't see college in my future. It wasn't, you know, and I never played football in Washington at all. So when I got here, you know, I started football, and it just happened to accumulate, and I just got better and better, and it got me where I am now.
You like this guy, Jim?
I like him. Big kid, two-time SC varsity All-State player, made it as a junior as well. And he's a guy, it's hard to come in to the SEC and make an impact as a freshman. This is a kid that you put in the weight program, maybe redshirt him and get him in his redshirt freshman year.
It's hard. It's hard for linemen. I mean,
it's difficult.
Weight, strength, all that good stuff. But I think down the road he's going to be a good player for South Carolina. Let's look at Freddie Phillips, another guy that signed. Of course, you talked about this guy a lot. He's committed to NC State. Think he'll do well at the next level?
He's going to do great at the next level. This is a kid that played on both sides of the ball as a wide receiver and safety. He's a defensive back at the next level, and he'll be a very good one. Very physical player, comes downhill, hits very hard, and run support. Good in pass coverage. Reads the field really well. 6'1", 195. He was an early enrollee as well. Actually did the smart thing. As an early enrollee, signed financial papers last summer, which locked the university in on him. They couldn't back out at that point. But great kid.
And maybe something Colburn should have done, too, to kind of protect himself from the schools saying, no,
well,
we can't take you.
If he was an early enrollee, you can only do that if you're an early graduate. If you're a December graduate, you can actually sign financial papers as early as the summer going into your senior year, which locks the university into you. Doesn't lock you to them, but it locks them to you.
Right. Joseph Charlton, the kicker. Yeah, I said a kicker. Your favorite position, Jim? AC Flora High School, 6'4". Boy, he probably got some skill to play some basketball. He committed to the Gamecocks, and of course you can sometimes you can find good kickers, and they're hard to find, Jim.
They are, and this is a good one. He's 6'4", 180, and kickers are important. You never know when you're going to need an extra ear pad or a thigh pad or something. Nah, great kid, and this kid's pretty athletic. I went and watched AC Flora a couple of times this year, and he was punting and pulled down a fake and took off with the ball. He's actually pretty athletic.
Well, he spoke without ever letting Petticuff. Here's what he had to say.
USC's always where I wanted to go. It's in the backyard. It's in my hometown. I grew up watching it. My parents love it. I love it. I can't wait to play. Hopefully I'm going to start off doing kickoffs and work my way into punts. When Fry leaves, maybe work my way into field goals.
Well, when you can do both, you kick and you can punt, you become very, very special as an athlete, no doubt about it. Hey, Jim, I was a kicker, so stop making fun of kickers. I did that.
You were at Pageland. You had to play like 3 or 4 different
and
positions.
I drove the bus, and I played in the band at halftime. That's correct. When we come back, we'll look at Clemson and South Carolina. Both of them are doing really well. Top 25 for both schools. We'll tell you about it after this break. Of course, we got to talk about South Carolina Clemson recruiting. Clemson, very happy, very ecstatic up in the upstate. Dabo and his coaches, they finished in the top 5 in recruiting. Let's go and look right here. So let's go with South Carolina first. 21st, Jim, ESPN. 19th by 24/7 Sports. 19th by Rivals. Clemson 4th at ESPN. 8th, 24/7, and 4th in Rivals. And Jim, real quickly, fans get excited about this. It's almost like you win the national championship by recruiting. And it bothers me. It really bothers me because it's still about developing. It's still about X and O's. Yeah, you need the Jimmies and the Joes, but this is not the tell-all of football, is it?
There's a lot of teams that finish in the top 5 that don't win the national championship. So it doesn't guarantee you, just because you got a bunch of 4 and 5 stars and you finish in the top 10 recruiting, that you're going to be a team that's contending for a championship. It does mean that you're going to get some pretty good talent to work with. But listen, there's a lot of 3 stars out there. If you look at the Super Bowl this year, no 4-star, 5-star kids, from when they were in high school. J.J. Watt, the NFL MVP, was a 3-star player.
Defensive MVP.
Coming out of high school. So stars, they're projections.
That's just projections. Well, Steve Spurrier, I think he understands that. He talked with the media on today. Here's what he had to say.
Fired up about our quarterback, Lorenzo Nunez, a kid that can run and pass. The college game is really going to quarterbacks that can run around, and this young man's pretty good at that. So overall, we think it's a good group, And as you can see, there's about 32 players listed. So it's a little over a third of our team. So we should be a different team next year. Hopefully we can put a defense out there that our fans will really be proud of and really get fired up about.
The defense, John Hoke is expected to become, I guess, I don't know the title yet, the defensive coordinator or the head coach of defense for the Gamecocks. They got a meeting tomorrow with the president, so we expect news to come out of Gamecock camp about some change with the coaching staff with the defense. Now, Dabo Swinney, on the other hand, you know he's always positive. Here's old Dabo's.
For me, it never gets old, and it's always exciting to see, you know, guys buy in and choose to be a part of what you do and how you do it. And all these guys that chose to come to Clemson today, they had many, many, many options. And for them to choose to come be a part of our program, you know, is just very exciting to me because I know they're coming for the right reasons and can't wait to get started.
All right, Jim, real quickly, your top 5 for 2016.
This is for the Midlands. Number 5, Brandon Hill, linebacker, Heathwood Hall, 6'2", 215. Number 4, Nick Graves, defensive back from Lexington, 6'2", 179. Number 3, TJ Brunson, linebacker from Richland Northeast High School, 6', 220 pounds. Number 2, Larry Collins, wide receiver from Lower Richland High School, 6'2", 190. A lot of interest for him. And number 1 in the Midlands area for next year, Stephen Davis. I've got him as a linebacker, defensive back, Dutch Fork.
Good night. Thank you.